Yo, how's it going, folks? It's me again, your boy Tabo, and this is another lesson on SVG for the web. So I'm going to continue from where I left off. On the last lesson, we created a diffuse lighting filter, and so now I'm going to continue with other types of lights that you can use with the diffuse lighting. So the next one will be distant light. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this filter to create our new light. So we're going to create a distant light. Last time we had a point light, so this time we're going to be working with the distant light. And so we'll say distant. And then in this one, okay, I'm also going to change that to distant lights. And what I'm going to be using for this one is the result is also going to be distant. So we're going to need the result. Do not have surface scale. And neither are we going to need diffuse constant. And so we'll give it a color of cyan. Okay, and so here inside the distant light has two attributes. One is azimuth. And this is 240. Okay, and then we have also elevation. Okay, and I will illustrate what that means later on. Okay, so basically all I need to do is just change some of these values, but since everything is used by the diffuse lighting element, then all I have to do is just change the elements in between. So this is distant, and then I'll be using arithmetic once again. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is create another circle. And all I need to do here is to change this to distant light, and then give it also different values. I'll say 550, and then I will fill it with the color pink. Okay, so let's now have a look what that looks like. Okay, so here we are. This is what that looks like. So I just want to come close so that I can show you. I don't know if you can see there's a line which is running underneath here. Now it's not all that visible, but you can see it. So what I'm gonna do now is try to change this azimuth, and you see now it's over here. So it was underneath here, so now it's over here. There's like a little thin lining, so that's what that is. Honestly, I do not really know what use that is. Now I'm gonna make it more extreme. I'll say 180. So now it's running over here. It's kind of hard to like really see so clearly, but yeah, that's what it is. Okay, I cannot really explain any more than that. And what's its use, I really don't know. When I do, you will be first to know. So now it's back here again. Anyway, that's that. And so alleviation, you have values from 0 to 100. So I'll start with 100. And you can see it's like really bright, but if I go beyond 100, then it will be dark. Okay, well, that didn't happen. Weird. Okay, let me just say 120. Okay, well, maybe it did, it just wasn't so visible. But for instance, if I say 200, then yeah, it goes dark. So what it does is that from 0 to 100, it becomes brighter and brighter, and then once you've reached the 100 limit, then from then on, whatever value you add onto it, it becomes darker. Yeah, so that's what it is. So from 0 to 100, so basically from 0 to 100 you can make it brighter, but once you've reached 100, from then on it becomes dim. Whatever value you add onto it, it just becomes dimmer and dimmer. Okay, so that's that, but that's what that does. Okay, so you've got this azimuth value, which is this line that runs here. You can change that around as you please. See, it's over here, so let's see what happens now. See, now it's over here. That's that. And honestly, I'm still trying to figure out what good is that. What can I use this for? Okay, so that's the distant light for you. So the next light filter that we're gonna be using is, well, the next light that we're gonna use is spotlight. So we're gonna say, I'll say spot. Okay, here spotlight, and then I'll change this to spot, and then the lighting color will be white. And over here I need to change this guy as well, so I'll say spot. And the values for spotlight are, put your X, I'll make that 650, and we've got Y, which is, I'll make that 700, and then we've got the Z, make that 50, and then we've got an attribute called limiting cone angle. Well, this is how you change the size of the cone, because the spotlight is, the light comes in a cone-like shape. So if you can think of a cone, then you can manipulate the angle of the cone. So the bigger the angle, then the wider the light spreads. So that's what that does. So we will give it a value of 20, and then we'll say points at X. Okay, what that is, it's basically where the light will be pointing on the x-axis. Okay, so say point at y. Okay, we'll make that 700, and then we'll say point at z, and then we'll make that 0. Okay, so these are our values, and then what we're gonna do now is create another circle. Okay, so we'll change this to spot, and then we'll give it different values. So I will leave this color, I will fill it with pink also. Okay, so now let's check it out. Okay, so now there we go. This is our spotlight. This is what the spotlight looks like, and this is the color of the shape. Okay, this is the pink color that I gave it. I can change it to a different color. I'll say orange. So that's the color that you get. So now you can see. And I want to illustrate what this does. Now these values, obviously they determine where the light is on the x-axis and the y-axis, and also on the z-axis. So if you say 150, then you can see it becomes wider. Okay, it's similar to point light, so basically it determines the distance between the light and the object. That's what that does. And the limiting cone angle, so I will go back to, I'll go to 20 so that I can better illustrate that. So this is what it looks like at 20. And if I want to change the cone angle, I can say 50. You see, so now the cone angle became bigger. Here I'll say 10. See, now it's thin. So this is what that does. It just manipulates the size of the cone. Okay. So these are the differences. So I can say 50 again. There we go, and then take it back to 20. Okay, so that's what that does. And the other values, like points at X, this is where the light is pointing. Okay, not where the light is sitting, but where it's pointing. So the light could be at a different location, but then pointing to another location. So that's what that determines. So at the moment, I've got it pointing on the x-axis 800. So this is basically 800 units on the x-axis, and then points at y at 700 on the y-axis. So if I okay, so I'm gonna change this to 600. Let's see what that does. Okay, so this is what it does. So it's pointing now somewhere here. Okay, so as you can see, that line is running down there. I will just make it maybe a little less extreme. So I will make it 650. So this is what's happening there. We'll make it 680. So you can also, you see, so it's basically busy moving up. And if I put it on 500, then you don't even see it anymore. Okay, so that's what's happening there. And here, because the light is at 650, let's see what will happen if I put it at 850. Okay, so here it is, but it's pointing up there. Okay, it's pointing in that direction. Okay, now let's point it at 550. Let's make this 550. And then this is lesser than this, so it means that the light would be pointing in the left, towards the left. So let's try to counteract that, and I'll make this 870, right? So let's see what that's gonna do. See, now it's pointing in that direction. If I bring it down again, let's say 600. So it's just going to keep on turning. So I'll make it 700. So now it's pointing in that direction. I can stretch it even further. At the moment it's at, let's make it 900. See, so this is what this does. So this point at, it just determines where the light will be hitting, like where it's pointed at, what is the target point, and that's basically all that it does. So this determines the x-axis, this the y, and that the z. Okay, and so the cone angle, make it bigger. See, that's what we get. So yeah, so that's pretty much what that is. So I'm just gonna move this once again. I'll put it at 0.800. Maybe let's make it 750. Then maybe we can increase that so that it. Okay, so this is pretty much how all of this works. Okay, so you can play around with these values and see, you know, to really understand how this is working. So the bigger it is, then the more coverage you get. Okay, so that's just how that works. So yes, enjoy this, play around, you know, see what kind of cool stuff you can create, but mainly play around with it so that you can really understand how this is working. Okay, so that's very important. As you can see here, you can just keep making changes, and yeah, sure, you know, you just get to understand it better. Okay, so basically these are the different lights that you can use. So you've got distant light, you've got spotlight, and you've got point light, and we've covered these. Okay, so this is all I'm gonna do with diffuse light. So you can just take what you've learned here, play around with it, you know, combine it with all the other stuff that you've learned, and see what kind of interesting things you can create. Like try to animate the light, you know, try to animate the color of the light, or try to use 2-point lights on one shape, see just what kind of interesting things you can create with this. It's all in the imagination. So these are the basics, and how far you take it is all up to you. So I'm just going to leave it here. I want this one to be short, so we're done with the diffuse lighting. So till the next one, love and peace, my brothers and sisters. I'm out. If you thought this video was good and helpful, please press that like button. For any questions or input, just remember to leave a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this, then subscribe to my channel and I'll keep more stuff coming your way.